We've already seen how to model entities using UML. Let's have a look at how to model functionality using structure charts. Lucidchart can be used again, and in this case we'll use the flowcharting symbols. Here's our diagram for the entities. What I can do is just add an additional page, and then maybe we could rename these pages. So this can be structure, or this can be, entities, and page 2 can be structure. Now what we need to do is go through and create boxes for each of the functions or procedures in our program. Here's my program. We have a read string. So I grab the box from the side, add that, and call it read string. This box represents that function. Read integer. Read night. Write night. Read night update option. Update night. And main. Now that's given us one box to represent each function and procedure in the program. Next we need to add arrows to indicate the function and procedure calls. Now we can start this process with main. That's the entry point. So let's put that at the top of our diagram. Main calls read night, write night, update night, write line, and it calls update night again. Even though it calls update night twice, write night twice, we'll only show one line. And we won't show write line at all because we're only really interested in communicating how our pieces of code interact, not the details of the libraries that we're using. You could choose to add that if it was really important, but in this case, it's not. I don't really care that we call write line at this point in the code. So we had read night, write night, and update night, all being called by main. We can add arrows to indicate calls by dragging these out from these circles on the box. We can change the style of those lines so they point directly between the boxes in this case, so that each is a distinct line. So that's main and what main interacts with. Update night. Let's have a look. It calls read night update option. We call other SplashKit functions and write night. We have write night as well. There we go. Write night and read night update option. They're the two that it calls. The others we can ignore. They're the library code. So update night is going to call read night, write night and read night update option. Read night update option doesn't call any of our other code, so it doesn't have any lines going out of it. Write night doesn't either, but read night calls read string and read integer. If these were in a separate library, we might even choose not to have included these at all. There we go. This indicates the structure of this program, which functions and procedures call which. It doesn't tell us in what order they do this, but it does give us an indication of where things are used. Next to the arrows, we can annotate data flows to indicate the direction that data travels inside the program. So here, I know that when main calls read night is a function, and it returns night data back to main. As we can see here, read night returns night data back to main. So I can annotate that by attaching a small line, there we go, next to the main line here. And associated with this, we can have the text night data to indicate that that is what this returns. There we go, make it look a bit nicer. So this shows us that this piece of data flows back along from the call, from read night back to main. We can use this in a few other places. I know that read string returns a string. So we can annotate that with the string return type. I also know that it takes, or it accepts a prompt parameter. So we could show a prompt coming into the function. There we go. Moving the lines around is a little bit tricky. Read integer is similarly organized. So we can show it accepting a prompt and returning an integer. There we go. And we can repeat this for all of the other functions and procedures in the code. And this completes our diagram. So I now can see what each function and procedure is, or where it's located in terms of the program structure, what calls that function or procedure, and the data that travels along that line. Often you might skip putting in the data. As you saw, getting those lines done correctly is a little bit fiddly sometimes. But it can be useful to communicate how it all fits together. I hope this has been useful, and we'll use these diagrams to help communicate what we want to build as we go forward.